action since the resumption, and we have two teams meeting here who had very contrasting fortunes on the first weekend back. It's Geylang International against Balestier Khalsa, two of the founding members of what is now the Singapore Premier League, in a year where we celebrate 25 years of professional football in Singapore. Geylang International come here off the back of that 4-0 drubbing at the hands of the Lion City Sailors at Bishan less than a week ago, where Balestier Khalsa ran out narrow winners against Tanjong Pagar. But the man that got the goal for them in that game last week is absent through injury this afternoon. We'll confirm those team news and lineups for you very shortly. Well, we'll shortly check out the league table that will show you Tampines Rovers still leading the Singapore Premier League despite their loss to Hougang on that opening weekend of the resumption. But the Lion City Sailors, with games in hand, will fancy their chances. Albrecht Nagata and the Lion City Sailors meeting in a game that kicks off at the same time as this one this afternoon. We'll keep you up to date with all the goals that go in there, but of course we're concentrating on Geylang and Balestier here at our Tampines Hub. The game is being brought to you live on Singtel and Star Hub, and also across the Singapore Premier League and OnePlay Sports social media channel. So plenty of chances for you to catch this live action coming here on the east coast of Singapore this afternoon. Well, kick-off now less than 10 minutes away. We have already spoken to the managers prior to us moving upstairs in our safely contained zone to acquiesce to all COVID-19 precautions. We'll check out now from Marko Kravic, and first we'll hear from Geylang International manager Noor Ali.
I mean, definitely, man. We had it was a turning point for us last season after the Balestier game. But I think it's going to be a very different around this time, because I think Balestier has done well in the last 4 games that they have played, and they got their first win last game, and even hold Albrecht to a 2-2 draw in Hougang. So definitely, they are a tough team to beat, but I mean, we have to get back to our winning ways. Yeah. I mean, every different players in the team has their attacking players at different qualities. Iqbal, who's strong in 1v1. I have people like Amy, Christopher, and even Nizam. But I think at the end of the day, I think you have to trust these local players out there. Because they definitely is fighting for a position in the national team, also playing the Suzuki Cup. For me, I have a lot of trust in this group of players. And I hope that after the 6 months break, people like Nizam, Ais will start coming out to score goals again.
Meaning is just second game in now, and we win the top of the table. It's very nice to be on top of the table. For I think if we can finish in the top 3 local clubs, say, on the end of the season, I think qualify for a AFC Cup, I think we'll be very happy. Last year is totally different, 3 rounds and there is no break. This year is really unprecedented, But about scoring goals, both team is attacking teams. I think it will be a lot of goals today also.
Well, Marko Kravic could be bang on the money there, because these two teams met 3 times last season, and an astonishing, well, 5-0, 4-3 and 3-0. 15 goals in the 3 games last campaign. The corresponding fixture here 12 months ago was a 5-0 demolition job by Geylang. And there you look at the giant screen in what I think is arguably now the best stadium in Singapore outside the National Stadium, making sure all the sponsors are getting their due exposure. And as we pan out, you'll see this most unique of stadiums here at our Tampines Hub. If you're watching from overseas, and if you are in Singapore and haven't yet got down to our Tampines Hub, you must make an effort to come down here. It's a fantastic multi-purpose venue with a theatre, a huge array of shopping and food and beverage outlets, a swimming pool, a library. It really is, as the name would suggest, the hub of the community here in Tampines. There is Noor Ali, the Geylang manager who benefited so much from that year experience he had in Japan, and he won't be too concerned about that 4-0 defeat, bearing in mind they were actually beaten 4-0 on the opening day of the season way back in February by Albrecht, and they bounced back from that defeat with back-to-back wins against the Young Lions and Hougang. A 2-1 win against Hougang, arguably one of the scorelines of the season so far. So Noor Ali's side then will be without the suspended Zainul after he saw red for that challenge just before half-time. So there'll be no sign of him in the starting 11. We'll confirm those starting lineups for you in just a moment. There you can see the substitutes of Geylang engaging in safe distancing. Quite right too. Such a shame the fans are locked out, but obviously it's in everyone's best interest to work through this together. And on behalf of the Football Association of Singapore, the AIA Singapore Premier League, and indeed One Play Sports, we once again pay tribute and thanks to all of those frontline workers and emergency personnel who've helped Singapore cope so masterfully with what was an unprecedented global health crisis. And it's been a while, but we're just delighted it's game on in the AIA Singapore Premier League, and we're almost set to get back to action. You can see the floodlights are on inside our Tampines Hub, because if you are watching around the world, it's coming up to 5:30 here local time in Singapore. Our team of officials led by match referee Lim Liang Yi, Ronnie Ko and Hilmi Fawad running the lines, and into the arena first as the familiar green and white of Geylang International. Geylang International, their familiar figure of the Japanese skipper Yuichi Ichikawa. And with it being a small tunnel area here at our Tampines Hubs, the team will enter separately from Balestier Khalsa, just to again ensure that we're engaging in safe distancing. There will be drinks and hydration break midway through each half, and 5 substitutes are allowed in a combination of 4 blocks, including a half-time change. You can see that Marko Kravic just coming out onto the pitch there, skippered as usual by Zeifel, the Balestier Khalsa keeper. And there was lots to like about Balestier's win last week at Tanjung Pagar, but there was also, for me, lots to like about the way Geylang stuck at their task, even playing with 10 men. It only capitulated to that 4-0 loss last week, very late in proceedings. And one thing's for sure, they have got stacks of attacking talent in their squad. And Noor Ali, one thing he can't complain about, as having options up front. So while they may be light, you could argue, in maybe defence to a certain extent in terms of strength in depth and even midfield up front, they've got options aplenty. So the fist bumps are taking place, and Balestier Khalsa are fans of a sideline pre-match final preparation pep talk, so I'm sure we'll get that as well. 2 skippers meeting in the middle, as referee Lim Liang Yi will toss the coin. So that's that formality out of the way. Final safe distancing measured photograph to be taken on a glorious balmy evening here in Singapore. Here is Geylang starting 11 for tonight's matchup, and a couple of interesting things to note here. Hyrule comes in for Zainal. Adam Hakim, who is a signing during the COVID break. Congratulations to Adam. He served his country with pride. He's finished his national service. The former young Lion gets his first start in a Geylang shirt tonight. Also coming in, a Khairul Nizam, who came off the bench against the Lion City Sailors, and Faris Farhan is also in the starting 11 today. And number 23 there, that's 19-year-old Wayne Chu, who steps up as a goalkeeping substitute in the absence of Zainal. He turned 19 on Thursday. Many happy returns, and obviously we hope nothing untoward happens to Hyrule, but imagine what's going through his mind just at 19 years of age, potentially on the brink of making his debut. Amy, by the way, is on the way back from injury, and Iqbal Hussain is certainly an option on the bench. The Kyrgyzstan defender Kamalidin Tashiev is also starting for the bench, as are Zikos. Now, Balestier Khalsa, they make just 2 changes, and one of them's a big one, because Bruno Encevic, the man who got the winner for them at Tanjung Pagar and is now their leading goal scorer for the season with 3. He injured himself by clattering into the post in the process of scoring that goal. You may remember, if you saw the match, it looked like he was injured. He is absent, so in comes Jufri Taha for he, and Arish Kumar comes in as Gay Samir drops down to the bench. So the starting lineups have been given to you. We are ticking round quickly to 5:30 local time. There is Noor Ali, the head coach of Geylang International, and 2 of the nicest chaps you could meet in Singapore football are head coaches respectively tonight, in Noor Ali and Marko Kravic. These games between these 2 founder members of the Singapore Premier League are certainly entertaining for the most part, and we're expecting an interesting encounter. I can tell you Marko Kravic won't be sat down for very long. He'll be making himself vocal while he wears that face mask to comply with the COVID-19 safe measures downstairs. So live from our Tampines Hub, it's The second weekend of action in the AIA Singapore Premier League since the resumption. Geylang in the green and white playing from left to right, and Balestier Khalsa in the red-black socks playing from right to left. Straight away, that was a questionable leave, and there's an opening for Noor Luqman, but the flag is up for a push, and our referee, Lim Yang Yi, will bring them back for a free kick to Balestier Khalsa. Yeah, going back through those 3 matches between these 2 teams last season, the corresponding fixture here, a 5-0 win for Geylang, a brace for Barry Maguire, a base for Shawalanwa, and a goal for Ichikawa on that performance. The 2 times they met at Balestier last season, one was a 4-3 win. What a thrilling game that was for Geylang, and the sole Balestier victory coming courtesy of a 3-0 win, a Darren Tay own goal amongst the scores for Balestier that day. Referee not wanting Jeffrey to take that any further forward than he already has. And Jeffrey goes direct, looking for Zuzu. It's over Zuzu, and they have to be careful because Haswan's there and Krychek's there as well. Krychek in the middle, and Ichikawa, safety first, gets it out for a throw. They are underway at Jurong East. Alberic's 0, Lion City Sailors 0. As mentioned, we'll keep you up to date with the scores there where we can. That game is also being covered live on Singtel Star Hub and the One Play Sports and AIA Singapore Premier League social media channels. Don't forget there's a game tomorrow as well. Young Lions taking on Tanjung Pagar over the top, looking for Hoshino. Tampines Rovers, the current league leaders, having a bye week this week, so no game for the Stags. And incredibly, Geylang International, the way the league table is shaped up, and we showed you that just before the match, if Geylang International can get a win here, it's possible for them to be second by the end of the weekend. And 3 points here for Balestier Khalsa. If Alberex Nagata fail to win against the Lion City Sailors, Balestier win here, and they'll be top. And you heard Marko Krajovic speaking before the game. He thinks a successful season for them will be securing an AFC Cup spot. We must remind everyone, because it's a pretty significant development in Singapore football parlance, that the winners of the Singapore Premier League this year go straight into the AFC Champions League group stage. So stakes are high. Decent throw on the turn. Zuzu gets the shot away, and it's blocked before it could cause any trouble to Hyrule. They're coming again though. Here's Krychek. Krychek with a good ball down the line. That was a nice pass, trying to play in Harith Kanadi, and a strong tackle from Ichikawa. Mohamed Shahir unable just to get there first. Clearance, tries to find Khairul Nizam. Nizam now waits in the middle, and Khairul Nizam has run off well there, but it's over the top of him. There's still an option down that left-hand side with Chris Van Heusen. Van Heusen, can he keep this? And he can. Can he get the cross? And he can. Can he try and pick out a green and white shirt with Faris Farhan? Not on that occasion, and it's back with Darren Tay. Open, attractive start here. Hoshino trying to play in Zuzu, but the 2 men up top not on the same page, and that was the case on occasion. You felt before the COVID suspension that it wasn't convincing whether Hoshino and Zuzu would make a top-class partnership, but you have to say, bearing in mind Balestier Khalsa can go top tonight, and they have in their catalogue already wins against the Young Lions and draws against Alberex Hougang and a win against Tanjung Pagar United. They've certainly proved that they're not going to be one of those teams worrying about the wooden spoon, and that of course has not been the case in recent seasons. Here's Darren Tay to bring it out for Geylang as Ichikawa. Great to see Adam Hakim, having completed his national service and got the move in the COVID break to Geylang, making his first start for them today. Former Young Lion. Darren Tay wants it on this near side and he's going to get it. I think wanted that back, Darren Tay, but unable to facilitate that was Fariz. But Geylang will get the throw in what's been an intriguing first 5 minutes. You have to say neither team really in the outright ascendancy so far, but Balestier Khalsa maybe just edging it in terms of possession, and that one half chance they created, it was blocked before it could get to goal as Adam Hakim gets it back to Hyrule. Barry Maguire, who had by his standards a disappointing game, I thought, against the Lion City Sailors. Not that it was an easy task taking on the big spenders of Singapore football, and I think they were value for the 3 points, but it's certainly, notwithstanding the red card and the last 15 minutes, wasn't really a 4-0 game. It would have been fascinating to see what would have happened at second half action if they hadn't had Zainul sent off. It's a correct decision to send him off. He picked up a 2-game ban by the way for that, so this is the first of 2 games he'll be missing. For that foul on Arshad, that was not the best. Philippe Orr, who was with me on co-commentary duties for that game last week, he called it as a red card within a split second of the challenge taking place, and even without the benefit of the replay, he called that and he was spot on. Free kick to Balestier Khalsa, Jeffrey to take. He can get plenty of purchase and distance on these, Jeffrey. Goes route one, looking for the flick on of Zuzu, which he gets. Hoshino's there as well. Hoshino and Maguire. Maguire comes out on top. Now lofted into the area by Keshaf Kumar. It's so great to see so many of these young Singaporeans, we talked about it last week, who are playing at this level and not looking out of their depth. Sometimes you get these young boys stepping up to fulfill the under-23 quota, and occasionally you think they're slightly out of their depth. That's not the case on the evidence of what we've seen through the first couple of weeks, and it's going to be interesting to see their progress throughout the remainder of this league season, which of course is now consisting of 2 rounds against everyone, as opposed to the usual 3. The league scheduled to finish just before Christmas. Throw to Balestier Khalsa, who continue to edge marginally the possession battle through the opening 7.5 minutes, and there's a flick on that ends up only just going wide from Hoshino, who was hunting there for his 3rd goal of the season, and it wasn't a million miles away. There was a nervous glance, I think, higher, and it almost went in slow motion for him. He was debating whether he had to fling himself across the turf just to make sure, and he did in the end in a kind of delayed reaction. I'm not sure if that was going to trickle in, whether he'd have got there in time. So, 8 minutes in, you're watching live AIA Singapore Premier League action across Singtel Hub, the AIA Singapore Premier League Facebook page, and One Play Sports social media channels as well. That's a decent tester, and Nur Lokman got there very quickly, and it's causing all kinds of panic now. Fariz in possession. That was good hustle from Nur Lokman to Darren Tay. Momentum just sucked out of it momentarily, but Adam Hakim can get them going again. Over on that far side, he brings in Harith Kanadi. Harith Kanadi, that familiar figure on the left-hand flank, Chris Van Heusen. Over the top, looking for Nur Lokman again, who's got pace to burn, and this is going to hold up. Nur Lokman gets there. What's the cross like? It's decent. Can they get a finish on it? Yes, they can! It's off the crossbar. What a chance! Inside the first 10 minutes, a lovely passage of play from Geylang, and it's still on for them here. Into the area, Balestier struggling to clear this, and they go down to the area looking for the penalty, but they'll get the free kick. It goes the other way. Well, that was a controversial passage of play. We'll show it to you in a minute, but meanwhile, this game is heating up nicely because Balestier Khalsa trying to go coast to coast, straight at the other end. Zuzu's through on goal. Support is approaching, but Ichikawa gets there first, and the ball comes off Zuzu last, and it's out for a goal kick. There is Chris Van Heusen hitting the crossbar after wonderful play by Nur Lokman, but it was a lovely cross. He pinched possession to start that move. A great passage of play for Geylang International. And the crossbar saved Balestier there because Zeifel was not going to get to that. Chris Van Heusen, another player who's got a brace this season, both goals coming in rather bizarre circumstances in that 2-1 win at Hougang. Spreading it wide is Ferdaus. Over the top, looking for the runner, Cairo Nizam. Cairo Nizam in a pace race up against Fadley, and Cairo Nizam comes out on top, but the referee sees a push and gives the decision the other way. Well, Geylang International looking to respond after that 4-0 defeat last week, have made a bright start here. Put it this way, 10 minutes in, it doesn't have the look of a golden straw, does it? We'll look at this again. Maybe a slight nudge from Cairo Nizam that sent Fadley tumbling. And again, the referee having to inform Balestier to take the ball back, trying to pinch a couple of yards every time they get a free kick inside their own half. Nice try, lads, but Lim Liang Yi, our referee, right on top of it. Fadley. And that's out for a throw to Geylang. Barry Maguire's got some time and space here. Ichikawa, it's opened up on this near side if they can get it there. Darren Tay's waiting, as is Nur Luckman. We've already seen that Nur Luckman's in the mood to create havoc this afternoon. Nice work from Darren Tay, but the pass not up to snuff. But Nur Luckman's at it again. The poacher, Nur Luckman, really causing a nuisance of himself to the Balestier defenders. He's not giving them a moment's peace, and they're going to have to try and tighten up there, because Nur Luckman, even as I look down now, is in acres of space on this right flank for Geylang. And they seem to be leaving him in splendid isolation, which is why they're trying to pick him out again here now. Nur Luckman to the byline, takes a touch, and that was clever defending from Ahmad Shahir to shield it out for a goal kick. But Nur Luckman looks like he could be a difference maker in this one through the first 11.5 minutes. It's still 0-0 though. Geylang having hit the crossbar in 10 minutes. So again, are we going to see a short corner route, a short goal kick routine, I should say, never mind short corner. I'm thinking hockey there with Balestier Khalsa, because Fariz and Cairo Nizam are up there to try and hassle Zaifel, as he's done before. He was doing last week. Lets his defenders take the goal kick. Here's Ichikawa. Work to do for Hyrule here, with Zuzu closing him down. Van Heusen in the mix. Cairo Nizam waits in the middle. Great at these driving runs is Van Heusen, and that's a good ball down to that far side where Harith Kanadi will get a cross in. Cairo Nizam will knock it back, but it had already gone out of play. It'll be a goal kick. And again, this peculiar setup that Balestier Khalsa have with goal kicks. Played very short by Zaifel, and that's one of his defenders get the distance on it. Ferdhouse brings this down. Barry Maguire's going to win a free kick there for the foul by Krajcek, the two number 8s. And now he's trying to push Hoshino out the way. Has got the look of a game here that could get a little bit fruity. The one game that has been played in this stadium this season was between Tampines and Hougang, and that was a very ferocious affair. Hougang coming up with a result of the season in terms of results since the restart, winning that one by 2-1. That would be up there with Geylang's 2-1 win against Hougang before the suspension in terms of shocks. And of course, notwithstanding, Tampines beating the Lion City Sailors by 4-0 here. It's very important the Lion City Sailors won last weekend, and that they did. Well, Zuzu was a little bit cumbersome in trying to implement the skill, but it had the desired effect, and Balestier will get the throw, and they want to get on with things quickly. Haswan trying to find Zuzu and taking no chances. Ichikawa belts it out for a throw. So, fascinating encounter here as we approach the quarter of an hour mark. They're approaching the quarter of an hour mark as well at Jurong East. Still Albrechts Nagata 0, Lion City Sailors 0. Two of the title favourites in action there today. Here's a driving run from Nur Luckman, who's impressing immensely. No whistle there, waiting for it. It's given Balestier a chance to break Keshav Kumar, and now they'll get the free kick for the foul on Zuzu. And they're right in the referee's face. The card's going to come out here for dissent. Well, he certainly went to his pocket, the referee there. to motion that he was going to show a card to, I think it was Ferdhouse, who was livid with the decision. But I think the intervention immediately after he voiced his displeasure is going to save them from picking up. He's never 10 yards away there. Well, that should have been retaken. Balestier, Krajcek with a decent cross, and it's headed behind for a corner. Well, a couple of strange things happened there. It looked like the referee was going to book Ferdhouse for complaining. Then Darren Tay got in the referee's face, and that almost stopped the referee in his tracks to go into the pocket to get his card out. And it's a safe Ferdhouse from picking up a yellow. It's not safe Geylang now from conceding a corner from the free kick that was blocked by Darren Tay when he was never 10 yards away. And Haswan Halim is over to take it. It's got the short option coming towards him with Ahmad Shahir, but Haswan has got plenty of big targets to aim at, even though Big Bruno isn't there. Punched away by Hyrule. Keshav Kumar. And Jeffrey gets it back to Zeifel. He gets plenty of purchase from that moving ball. It's a bit of a mystery why he doesn't seem that happy taking the goal kicks. It's certainly a pattern that's emerging. Barry Maguire trying to switch play to Nur Luckman, who's the most dangerous player on the pitch to this point. Nur Luckman with Darren Tay on the overlapping run. Darren Tay getting powerfully forward. Nur Luckman, it's a teasing cross that hangs up, but just too much on it. And that's the first disappointing passage of play that's come out of Nur Luckman's feet in the opening 16.5 minutes. So again, it's a pattern that's evolving around world football, isn't it? The way goal kicks are taken with the rule change that players can be inside the 18-yard box. Once more, this one Zeifel is left. Thought for a minute they were going to employ those passes inside the penalty area, which so many teams are doing at the moment. Hoshino putting some pressure on Hyrule, who steps in for the suspended Zainal this afternoon. And if you are just joining us, a reminder, Wayne Chu, who was only 19 on Thursday, is on the bench as a goalkeeper for Geylang. Here's Darren Tay. Geylang with that Zainal red card last week have now had 3 red cards this season, 2 in the opening day of the campaign with Farhan, Sored, Tabarin as well. Nice passage of play from Ferdhouse. Nur Luckman gets it at his feet at pace, controls it well. Darren Tay has got an option behind him in Barry Maguire now. Barry Maguire will look to switch it again, looking for Harith Kanadi, who's got work to do here to mop this up. Harith Kanadi, they're being pushed back a little bit. The momentum breaks down once again. Adam Hakim, good ball looking for Darren Tay if he can keep it in, and Darren Tay does keep it in. But Nur Luckman unable to get there before Keshav Kumar. Now, Arish Kumar. Keshav. Referee wants it taken from the right position. Balestier making a habit of this through the opening 20 minutes, trying to steal yards on free kicks and throws. Just inside Geylang half. It's a long throw that'll be picked up in the middle of the park and won well. They've got Haswan Halim in some space if they can find him on this near side, and find him they do. First time pass over the top, looking for Hoshino. Darren Tay. Challenger starting to fly in, and a bit too late was that challenge from Haswan. It's a free kick to Geylang. Continue, we've had a goal at Jurong East. Albirex Nagata lead the Lion City Sailors by a goal to nil. Albirex Nagata 1, Lion City Sailors 0. We're still goalless here. Its way through to Zeifel. Free kick to Balestier, midway inside the Geylang international half. It's Geylang who've come closest to opening the scoring in these opening 20 minutes. We're only a couple of minutes away from the water break, midway through the first half. They've hit the crossbar through Van Heusen. Can Balestier put Hyrule's goal under any pressure from this free kick? To be delivered by Christian Krajcek over on that far side. Krajcek. Aaron Tay, in hindsight, maybe had a bit more time than he thought there, but safety first, can't blame him for that, and it's out for a corner. Second corner of the game for Balestier Khalsa. And of course, you probably feel more comfortable conceding corners to Balestier Khalsa when Bruno Bruncevic isn't playing. Bruno the ball, 3 goals already this season, including 2 from corners. Might actually be 3 in hindsight. Well, 3 of them I was certainly in attendance for the goal he scored from a corner. Against Albirex, and of course scoring again from a corner last week. And they've got a useful long throw here with young Keshav Kumar. Doesn't get past Barry Maguire, and Geylang will get a free kick to ease the pressure. It's live Saturday night AIA Singapore Premier League football here across Singtel Star Hub, the AIA Singapore Premier League Facebook page, and One Play Sports as well. No, Luckman, that was a very strong challenge from Jeffrey. Now, what's he given here? What's the free kick for there? He's given a free kick. It looked for all the world that Jeffrey got the ball there first. Was there a trailing leg? I wouldn't mind seeing that again. Doesn't seem to be much in the way of complaining from Jeffrey, so maybe he knew what he was doing and didn't get away with it, but he certainly disguised it well to me. Looked like he stuck the leg out there and played the ball. And this is given Geylang against a Balestier team, missing Bruno. Promising chance from a set piece. They're going to be lacking in a bit of height at the back. I suppose he did catch No Luckman on the way through. He's pointing out he won the ball. But the referee's decision, as always, is final. Now Van Heusen. You can usually rely on Van Heusen for pinpoint precision from here. He scored a goal from a similar angle to this against Taogang, one of those 2 bizarre goals that he scored on that game. But I'm sure he's going to try and pick out a teammate here. Cross isn't the best, but Hoshino can only knock it behind for Geylang's first corner of the afternoon, 23 minutes in. Farham with Van Heusen as the short option, but Balestier are alive to that with player Jeffrey trying to prevent the short routine. So it looks like Faris Farham might have to take this on himself. Only 4 green and white shirts in the penalty area. Hoshino again first hit with the header, comes out to Ferdhouse. Ferdhouse spreads it to Ichikawa, who drifts one up. The flag's going to be up for offside here. It was 2 of them coming back from an offside position. And again, it's my favourite footballing cliche, but a game that could do with a goal. They've had one at Jurong East. You can also watch that game live. Albirex against the Lion City Sailors on Singtel Star Hub and the AIA Singapore Premier League social media channels, as well as the One Play Sports social media channels. Plenty of time and space here for Ahmad Shahir. Finds Hoshino, who improvises nicely, but it's uncontrollable for Haswan Halim. And Geylang now get moving with Ferdhouse. Harith Kanadi. Route 1, is the flag going to stay down there? I think it is, you know. The flag is down. Great chance for East Forehand for 1-0 Geylang. And he's put it into the side netting. Well, the Balestier defence all had the eyes across to the assistant referee, hoping they would bail him out. And right before the water break, Geylang should lead by a goal to 0. We'll see the replay to confirm that Faris Farhan was onside. The assistant referee on the near side kept the flag firmly down, and he'll be disappointed. The touch did take it away from goal and create a far more acute angle than he'd have wanted, but he should be finishing this. He beat the defender, he beat the goalkeeper, and couldn't find the back of the net. That angle inconclusive as to whether he was onside. Certainly the Balestier defence initially all stopped practically to a walk. Let's see if this angle can pick it out. All the credit in the world, by the way, to young Harith Kanadi for the pass. Again, inconclusive from that angle, but the fact there wasn't more recriminations afterwards from Balestier to the assistant referee or referee, I suppose the fact it didn't go in makes it a different story. It would suggest he was on. Can't quite pick it out there. I mean, it's very hard to tell, isn't it, when you're getting the camera shot just a fraction of a second late, but you know, in the aftermath, they weren't all looking around screaming at the referee. I think Balestier have got away with a momentary lapse of defensive concentration here at our Tampines Hub, this glorious complex on the east coast of Singapore that houses an arts theatre, a shopping, F&B hub, all manner of community activities going on here 7 days a week. The area on the top there you're looking at just above the floodlights is a running track, a jogging track that's all around the complex. There's swimming pools, a library. Must get down if you live in Singapore, and if you ever come to Singapore on holiday, when, please God, we can all travel again sometime soon, you should check it out. It's a great little complex, and right in the heart of it, what I think is one of the most, what's the word, unique football stadiums in Southeast Asia. This, our Tampines Hub venue, holds 5,000 at full capacity, but in truth, with people being able to watch from the library, from all four corners of the ground, you could probably get double that if and when we allowed crowds to return, although of course they wouldn't all go down towards the official attendance. Meanwhile, here, as the action's back underway after a mercifully short drinks break, Geylang in the ascendancy. They've hit the crossbar and they should be one up, but Faris Farhan found the side netting after a wonderful ball from Harith Kanadi. And they do appear to be the sharper of the two teams as they look to bounce back from that 4-0 drubbing at the hands of the Sailors last week. Shino's on his backside and they'll get the free kick. Got a tricky job officiating this game as Mr. Lim Yang Yi. Neither of these two sides afraid to tell the referee what they think. And that's gonna have a look at Ichikawa and Hoshino, the two Japanese clashing. Let's get back to the live action where Balestier actually momentarily looked like they were going to break. They're trying to camp out for the first time in getting international territory. Here's Krychak. Oh, Krychak beats two men brilliantly, tries to beat a third and goes down. Referee plays on. Haswan Halim gets it back, and the shot is disappointing in the end from Elijah Lim. Arguably Balestier's best bit of build-up play there, and a lovely bit of skill from Christian Krychak to beat two men. And then went to try and buy a free kick off the back of it that didn't quite pan out. Here's Barry Maguire, the Dutch import, who did try his luck outside of Singapore, but returned at the start of the season back in February. Had an issue with a work permit that kept him out of the opening game of the season, that defeat at Albrechts, but he's certainly part of the heartbeat of that Geylang international midfield. No Luckman, who continues to impress. There's quite a few of these Geylang players that are impressing. They are playing like a team that have got a point to prove after the disappointments of last week. Tomoyoki Doi, by the way, is the goal scorer for Albrechts Nagata, who lead at Jurong East against the Lion City Sailors. Tomoyoki Doi with his fourth of the campaign, leading goal scorer in the division to this point is Stipe Plazabat, who of course is playing in that game as well. 7 for the season, 5 for Hougang, and then 2 for the Lion City Sailors last week in that win against Geylang. Foul throw has been pinged. Well, at this level, That's pretty criminal, particularly when the throw was in your own half. Just a recheck from our partners at Genius Sports. The corner count, 2-1 in Balestier Khalsa's favour, but just about every other statistic, you have to say, is in the favour of Geylang International. The one stat that matters, though, is still all square at the top of the screen. Darren Tate thought it was a nice takedown, but Balestier reacting quickest, and Hoshino's on the run ahead if they can find it. They do try and play in Hoshino. It misses out Barry Maguire, and it might still come to Zuzu. Zuzu into the area, beats his man, Zuzu, narrow angle! And you just wonder in hindsight whether he would have won a penalty if he went down. It was brave of him to carry on that run, but the best chance of the game so far for Balestier. And Hyrule has passed the test. It was a narrow angle, but have a look here. It was really powerful running from Zuzu. If he goes down when that challenge comes in from Adam Hakim, that's a penalty all day long and twice on Sundays. Have a look at it one more time. You have to obviously applaud, I suppose, Zuzu. If it had gone down there, you're just saying, why didn't you stand up and try and finish it? But bearing in mind the speed he was going at, the angle he was coming at, you have to think if he goes down there, if he's a more experienced player, I think you'd find he'd go down and win a penalty. Anyway, the moment's passed. Geylang survived. They've both now had close shaves. Both teams, one at either end. Two in the case of Balestier, because Geylang nearly scored twice. Van Heusen hitting the crossbar, and then Faris Farhan putting into the side netting. That's a long ball through from Jeffrey. It goes to Hyrule, who stood up well in the face of Zuzu. What that did show, by the way, is that Zuzu's got plenty of pace to burn, and power too. He nipped that just in front of Adam Hakim. Chikawa, and it might be goalless, but it's not been a game without incident to this point. It's been captivating stuff. A reminder, there's a game tomorrow as well, Young Lions and Tanjung Pagar United. That game at Jurong West. It's also live on Singtel Star Hub, the AIA Singapore Premier League Facebook page in One Play Sports. That's a 5:30 Singapore time kickoff. That's GMT +8. It's over the top. And they're going to lose out here. Hazwan giving Geylang possession a little bit too easily on that occasion. Ferdhouse misses out. Hoshino, Barry Maguire right on top of Hoshino straight away. They've left that one behind, and Nur Lukman goes down looking for a free kick. Referee playing advantage. It comes to Barry Maguire. He tries to switch it to Van Heusen, who should be able to keep this in play and does. So Van Heusen over on the far side. He gets it back to Harith Kanadi. Harith and Van Heusen linking up well so far today. Heads up, Karanizam! What a score! Harith Kanadi, Chris Van Heusen, and Karanizam with an exquisite headed finish. It looked for all the world, the way that ball held up, that he wouldn't get enough power and purchase on the header. But Karanizam would not be denied. A wonderfully worked goal. Kanadi Van Heusen, back to Kanadi, the cross comes in. Question marks over the defending of Ahmed Shahir, who lost Karanizam in flight. But the headed finish was a thing of beauty. A well-worked goal. Van Heusen and Harith Kanadi linking up brilliantly for at least the third time in this half. And they make it count with Ahmed Shahir losing sight of Karanizam, who stole in to get his second goal of the season, to add to the score he got at this stadium against the Young Lions back in March. And it's Geylang 1, Balestier Khalsa 0. Well, that's Exhibit A, if you want to debate about great goals that aren't necessarily 30-yard free kicks or thunderbolts or volleys from the edge of the area. Some precision long passing from Harith Kanadi. Oh, that's given away. Can Zuzu respond to Khalsa straight away? He's got Christian Krajcik over on that far side. Krajcik with the cross. Hoshino trying to get there. Hazwan Halim misses it out. Chance! And it's behind for a corner. Ahmed Shahir with a half opportunity there to immediately redeem himself for losing Karanizam for the opening goal. Business is picking up here, folks. We're seeing plenty of reasons through the first 34 minutes while these teams Shared 15 goals between them in 3 games last season. You fancy we haven't seen the last of the goal scoring yet. Balestier Khalsa with their 3rd corner, and it comes 10 minutes before half-time. Can they make this one count to level it up immediately? Decent delivery, punched away by Hyrule. Only as far as Elijah Lim. Elijah Lim does really well. That's a great cross. Krajcek just wide. With another beautiful ball from the byline. Elijah Lim this time. And Krajcek got ahead to it. Keeper Hyrule was rooted to the spot, but from a Balestier perspective, it went agonisingly wide. He miscontrolled it initially, Elijah Lim, but it was a brilliant recovery. Lovely cross, edge of the 6-yard box, just wide from Krajcek. Albrechts Nagata have added a 2nd against the Lion City Sailors. Albrechts Nagata 2. The Lion City Sailors 1, and what that will mean is that Albrechts Nagata, if they get the 3 points there, will most definitely be top of the AIA Singapore Premier League tonight. Tampines Rovers, not in action today, but Albrechts, in theory, are playing their game in hand. And the Sailors, for all they looked very impressive last week, certainly in the 2nd half against 10 men. Albrechts Nagata, who had a spell a couple of years back of being practically invincible in Singapore football, disappointing by their standards last campaign. They're trying to bounce back and reclaim that title they lost to Brunei last season. Albrechts only 4th last campaign, which are the standards they'd set themselves in the previous 3 seasons, was a disappointment. Kyron Izam gets it to Darren Tay. Lovely work from Kyril. And that's a lovely ball through to Noah. Look, but he goes down to the edge of the area, and this will be a free kick, and a yellow card's coming out for the first time as well. I think the referee's spot on. It was right on the edge of the area, but Ahmad Shahir is having a horror show of her last 10 minutes here. Fortunate not to concede a penalty. Lovely work by Darren Tay, and right on the edge of the area. Darren Tay wanted the penalty. I think the referee's got this spot on. Let's have a look back at this angle. Keep an eye out from when the challenge is made. Certainly won't get it from that angle. But I think the referee's spot on, right on the edge of the area. So no penalty, but still a prime piece of real estate. Van Heusen's going to leave this, I think, for Faris Farhan. Faris looking for his 1st goal of the season, or will Van Heusen bamboozle them all? It's the more natural angle, you'd think, for Van Heusen, who has scored from 3 kicks already this season. But the way it's shaping up is as if Faris wants it, or are they selling us all a dummy here? Zyful waits. They're going to go for goal, you fancy, whatever they do here. Faris Farhan blocked by the wall, which did its job, and it's out for another corner. Well, I think Van Heusen would have probably fancied that himself. He'll have to make do with going over to assist Faris Farhan with the corner. Let's have another look at this now. 5 men in the wall, including that huge figure of Zuzu right in the middle of it. It came off Christian Krajcek in the end and out for a corner ball. So Faris Farhan, as we're inside the final 7 minutes of the first 45. If Geylang get a 2nd here, the Tigers will have a mountain to climb. Faris's delivery is good. Heads are up with Ichikawa. And Krajcek did just enough to get in the Japanese man's way. Now, Balestier Khalsa trying to find Keshav Kumar to break quickly. But that breaks down before they can get outside their own half, and Geylang continue to press. In terms of possession stats, haven't seen the official Genius possession stats yet, but we're looking at around about 63, 65% for Geylang International, and that's after Balestier arguably enjoyed the better of it. He's impressed, Darren Tay, hasn't he? He's gone up and down the flanks as Geylang let the get out of play, because in some discomfort over on that far side, and this looks like, is there a collarbone or an issue with the back? Van Heusen's down as well, but Kyron is in the goal scorer in some discomfort here now as he dislocated his shoulder. Let's have a look at what's happened here. It's Harith Kennedy with the throw, and it's just the way he falls. You can see there, that's nasty. That really is nasty because his shoulder and his arm almost gave way underneath him, and ironically enough, it's not too dissimilar to the way that young Irfan Fandi went down playing for BG Patum in the Thai T1 division a couple of weeks back. And poor old Irfan, and I'm hoping this isn't the fate of Khairul Nizam, had to undergo shoulder surgery and is out for 3 months. Luckily, Khairul Nizam's back up on his feet, so it's clearly not that serious. But for a minute there, well, you saw it on the slow motion replay, when you go down like that, it can always be nasty. And gratefully, Khairul Nizam is up and okay on his feet. And incidentally, everyone, I'm sure, on behalf of the Football Association of Singapore, the AIA, Singapore Premier League and One Play Sports, wishes Irfan Fandi a speedy recovery. He was doing such wonderful things with BG Patum in Thailand, who continue to be the league leaders. And of course, we will be seeing Singaporeans in the AFC Champions League next season from the AIA Singapore Premier League, but highly likely we'll be seeing another Singaporean in Irfan Fandi playing in that competition as well for Thailand's BG Patum. So, despite the problems that COVID-19 has brought the football community, great to see that it's game on, game back on in the AIA Singapore Premier League, and leagues in the region continue to flourish. Ichikawa. Early days, I know, but I would imagine that Marko Krajovic is already thinking about what moves he can make from the bench. They're not blessed with any really standout attacking talent on the bench to bring on in the second half. They're already trailing by 1. Barry Maguire getting them moving again. Oh, that's a missed clearance. Comes to the edge of the area. Barry Maguire pulls the trigger, and that was going to be on target. Danger's not gone yet. No, Luckman. That was well dealt with eventually. At the back by Jeffrey. Hoshino. Game continues to be open and attractive. Into Zuzu's touch lets him down. Jeffrey, who's impressing at the heart of this Balestier defence. That's gone out of play. Krajicek frustrated with himself, and with good reason, over on that far side. Now, Barry Maguire is down. Is it a footwear issue there? Yeah, I think he's just doing his shoelaces up. Probably have a couple of minutes of time added on at the end of the first half. Now let's have a look. In terms of shots on goal, Balestier Khalsa have actually had more. But Geylang have looked the more dangerous, haven't they? Van Heusen hitting the crossbar. No, Luckman's looked lively. And of course, Khairul Nizam's goal, the difference between the two teams after wonderful work from Van Heusen, and particularly good work from Harith Kennedy. Great to see the 20-year-old Singaporean coming up with the cross. And as good as Khairul Nizam's header was, it would have not been possible without the work of Van Heusen and Harith Kennedy on that left-hand side for Geylang. So, Balestier now, another opportunity to employ Keshav Kumar's long throw. We can get plenty of distance on this. Needs Zuzu to win the ball in the air first, though, and he doesn't manage to do it. And all of a sudden, Geylang are away at the races now. Hyros Seifel was a far way off his line there. I looked up and thought for a minute that they were going to try and pull the trigger, but they thought against it. Balestier have won it back. Hoshino. Oh, that was a strong, committed challenge, and the referee's given a free kick. Now, I don't believe that Darren Tay even saw the Balestier Khalsa man in his eye line there when he made that challenge. I think it was just going to win the ball, so he's probably a bit unfortunate, the kind of decisions that are given. Have a look at this. Hoshino gets away from him. Well, maybe I'm a bit generous saying he didn't see Hazwan Halim coming towards him. But he was certainly entitled to go for that, and I think that's why the referee's not deemed it worthy of a yellow card. It is nonetheless a free kick, just the one yellow card to Ahmed Shahir for that foul right on the edge of the area that was so nearly a penalty. So Balestier with a chance right on the 45-minute mark here. We're into 2 minutes that will be added on at the end of this first half. What can Christian Krajcek do with his delivery here? Zuzu in the middle trying to get on the end of it. Hoshino in the middle trying to get on the end of it. Harish Kumar's up from the back as well. He'll be taking this playing with 10 because Haswan Halim is still off the pitch following that injury. We saw a goal scored direct from a free kick by Haugang last weekend against Tampines. Is Christian Krajcek going to do it again? Krajcek, decent delivery and headed behind for a corner ball off the head of Adam Hakim. Yes, the way he was shaping up to take that, I thought for a moment it was going to be shades of Sahil Zuhaimi, who scored that incredible goal kick to catch Tampines out of the near post last weekend. So we've already played 60 seconds of the 2 minutes to be added on for stoppages. Krajcek, who's had Balestier's best chance, heading just wide after good work from Elijah Lim. Goes for the near post, headed away only as far as Haswan Halim on the edge of the area. They're all going to be offside here, so Hyrule can claim it safely and wind down a good 10 or 15 seconds to make sure that Geylang International go into the rooms at half-time here with a 1-0 lead. A reminder, in the other live game, Albirex Nagata, that one into first half injury time as well, leading Lions City Sailors by 2-0. That's something for Nur Luckman to chase. Nagasawa with the second of Albarex's goal. Nur Luckman into the area. Nur Luckman takes a tricky bounce, gets it back to Maguire. Good save, Zeifel. Was it a comfortable height and distance for him, but he got across well and parried it away from danger. And Jeffrey now, surely they're just going to try and clear this Balestier and get into the dressing rooms. Only one down. Maguire doesn't let them do that. It's come to Darren Tay. Squares it, chance for two. And a really important block that might just keep Balestier in this game. We're now into time added on of time added on. Zuzu's on the chase. He might get there first. Zuzu goes down. And now the referee's got a decision to make. It's going to be a yellow card for Hyrule in a high-octane final 60 seconds to the first half. Here was me getting ready for a cup of tea and an orange, and business picked up and how. Zuzu in pain on the deck, and Balestier with a chance of a set-piece opportunity. Deep and past the 2 minutes of time officially added on. And that came after Darren Tay's lovely bit of skill, almost helped unlock the Balestier defence for a second time. Well, he's still on the deck, Zuzu. Balestier already without the injured Bruno. Can it afford to lose Zuzu as well? He is up on sitting up now, but Hyrule goes in to the referee's book, and of course he has to be careful. They're already without Zainal suspended for today in their next match. And a reminder, if the worst should happen, 19-year-old Wayne Chu on the bench as a goalkeeper for Geylang this afternoon. Hyrule's had a good game to this point. He was lucky, of course, that that was not a challenge that was going to present a free kick in a more direct position to this one. This will be the last play of the first half, and this would be a real smash and grab raid over a minute past the 2 minutes that were to be added on. Haswan Halim is over this. Can they create any panic in the Geylang defence and nick an equaliser right on half-time? And it comes, and that's tipped over, I think, and it will have time for the corner as well. Now, Hyrule, I think, had to be sure to get the touch on that because it might have dipped down and come off the crossbar and dropped anywhere. So good improvisation from Haswan Halim. Hyrule does his job. Have a look at this. How quickly was this dipping down? Meanwhile, back to the live action. The corner comes in, punched away by the goalkeeper, and that will be the final action of a very pulsating and entertaining first 45 minutes. as it stands, the difference between the two teams is the Cairo Nizam second goal of the season for Cairo after wonderful work down the left-hand side from first Van Heusen and then a masterful cross from Harith Kinadi. That gave Geylang the lead. Before that, Van Heusen himself had hit the crossbar. They had other chances as well, including what was very nearly a penalty given away by Ahmed Shahir, but it resulted in a free kick right on the edge of the area that Faris Farhan blasted into the wall. At the other end, Balestier have had their chances. Christian Krajcik went close with a glancing header that drifted just wide, and they've been in this contest but not been able to supply the killer blow to this point. At half-time here at our Tampines Hub, it's Geylang International 1, Balestier Khalsa 0. in quite high spirits and high tempo. If Geylang International were to pick up the 3 points here, and obviously there's lots of surmising with 45 minutes in both games to go, but as things stand, Albrecht's lead 2-0. They'll be top of the AIA Singapore Premier League tonight if they go on to win there. And they are effectively playing what is today their game in hand over Tampines Rovers. And that's the confirmation of the score. Tomoyuki Doi with the first goal in that game. Tomoyuki Doi with his 4th goal of the season, and Ryosuke Nagasawa also with his 3rd goal of the season. So they're the 2 goal scorers for Albrechts Nagata in a game they are currently leading at half-time, and that won't be a scoreline that's going to please Aurelio Vidmar. They've already had a couple of disappointing results prior to the COVID suspension, the draw at Tanjung Pagar and then the performance here at our Tampines Hub when the Stags played them off the park in the 2nd stanza. So they'll want to try and recover that situation. Still 45 minutes to go there, and that game, of course, is also available for you live on Singtel Star Hub, the AIA Singapore Premier League and One Play Sports social media channels. So, night setting in here in Singapore. Let's look back at the best of the action in that first half. Harith Kennedy with that cross that found the header Kara Nizam. He managed to lose Ahmed Shahir and head it past Zaiful. That's the goal that separates the side. Look at this for a nice bit of play from Elijah Lim. Heavy contact initially, manages to turn Barry Maguire inside out and got it across to Christian Krajcek, whose header was just wide. This was the free kick. And was the free kick that we saw very briefly on the edge of the area that Ahmed Shahir conceded just after they'd scored the goal, Geylang. But thankfully, from a Balestier Khalsa perspective, it came to naught. So just 1 goal here at half-time, and plenty of substitutes out there warming up, and bearing in mind the teams can make 5 changes in a maximum number of 4 breaks, including the half-time interval. There may well be some half-time changes to come. And here's a reminder, let's stay safe for Singapore together. We are one strong, and we are incredibly grateful, the entire football community, Singapore as a whole, whether it be the Football Association of Singapore, the AIA Singapore Premier League, One Play Sports, all our associated sponsors and partners in the 25th anniversary of professional football in Singapore. We're all incredibly grateful to the work done by those that are so often unheralded, but now more than ever we appreciate and acknowledge the sacrifices and work made by all of those in frontline and emergency services across Singapore, and we are all blessed to be living in the Lion City state, which has thankfully coped with this COVID-19 situation as well as any other country on the face of planet Earth. So let's all stay together, stay safe, and we are, as always, one strong. So no fans, of course, in our Tampines Hub, but we're bringing you these pictures live on Singtel Star Hub, the Singapore Premier League and One Play Sports social media channels, and we've got a fascinating second half to come. Stay with us. We'll be back in just a couple of minutes, and I wonder whether we'll be seeing any changes at half-time, because there's Kamalin Tashiev, the Kyrgyzstani defender. Will he come on in the second half? You'll have to stay with us to find out. Back in 2 here, live at our Tampines Hub. It's Saturday night, AIA Singapore Premier League action. We're back live at our Tampines Hub on the east coast of Singapore. A warm welcome wherever you're watching all around the world. The second weekend after the restart, it's game on in the AIA Singapore Premier League here at the Hub. Geylang International leading by that fine Khairul Nizam-headed goal to 0 against Balestier Khalsa, who themselves have had their chances, but you have to say on balance, Geylang looking the most likely to score, and they got the lead. They probably on balance just about deserved 12 minutes before the break. Drama towards the end of that first half. Couple of yellow cards coming out. One to Khairul in goal for Geylang and the other to Ahmad Shahir. But plenty of thinking for Marko Krajovic to do as he casts an eye out on his substitutes. He's watching his substitutes warm out there. This is something that Marko does. I think he has his say at half-time to his team for a couple of minutes and actually comes out to let them think about it themselves. And I wonder whether he's gazing out onto that pitch to see if he wants to make a change at half-time. I wouldn't be surprised if he does. Remember, 5 substitutions are allowed. There's his opposite number. Will be slightly happier at the break, Noor Ali. I must say, Noor Ali and Marko, two of the nicest guys you could ever wish to meet in the football community here in Singapore. And Noor Ali, he was fuming after the defeat last week when they went down. 10 men Geylang went down to Lion City Sailors by 4 goals to 0. But it's worth remembering that Geylang have had 3 red cards this season. They've lost 2 games already by 4 goals to 0. This is their 5th match of the season, and a win tonight will take them second. Well, joint second with Tampines. They'll probably just be third on goal difference unless they put a hatful past Balestier Khalsa in the second half. But I think Balestier Khalsa have shown enough to suggest they could get back into this. It's going to be a fascinating second 45, that's for sure. A reminder at the other game that's also live on Singtel Star Hub, the AIA Singapore Premier League social media channels and One Play Sports. Albirex Niigata, are they title contenders this season? I think you'd have to say they are. They lead Home United, now known of course as Lion City Sailors. If you're just getting back into Singapore football after a break, Home United now renamed the Lion City Sailors, and Tomoyuki Doi and Rio Nagasawa with the 2 goals to give Albirex Niigata the lead at half-time. That game's already kicked off its second half. As our floor manager, Khairul, momentarily obscures the view of the players. He's down there doing a wonderful job. We're obviously restricted to the number of production crew he can have in the stadium. And for safe distancing measures, we are doing everything we can to bring you top-class Singapore Premier League action, the only professional sports league in Singapore. And hats off to all of our friends at the Football Association of Singapore and the team at the AIA Singapore Premier League who've put so much hard work in to make this happen. Now, I think I saw the boards go up for a change there, and it's going to be a welcome return after injury for Amy Recha. Amy Recha is coming on. I think that was Nur Luckman he was replacing. Nur Luckman had a good first half there. I wonder whether he's picked up a knock. So Amy Recha for Nur Luckman. And I don't think Marko Krajovic has pulled the button on any changes just yet. Let me just confirm. It might have been, was it Ferdhouse? I'll have to check that for you. Do bear with me for a moment. Well, it certainly was Amy Recha that was on, and there is a change as well. Yes, that's where the confusion has arisen. For Balestier, it's going to be Zulfaimi for Arish Kumar. So Zulfaimi for Arish Kumar, and I wonder whether that's a move just to try and shore up what at times was a defence that was getting pulled in a couple of directions from Geylang. So these 2 teams, 2 founder members of the original Singapore Premier League, or the S-League as it was known then 25 years ago, are battling it out in the second 45 minutes here at our Tampines Hub, this magnificent stadium on the east coast of Singapore. Our referee, Lim Lang Yi, getting ready to get this second half underway. It'll be Balestier in the red, playing from left to right in this second half. Geylang in the green, playing from right to left. Hold on to your hats, folks. The second half is underway. That's come off Oshino last. It will be a throw to Geylang. Do feel that if they can get the first goal in the second half, Geylang, Balestier really might be out of this. They managed to get the goal, to get the 3 points against Tanjung Pagar United last week, but it was by no means plain sailing. Here's Arish Kumar. Has been a tactical reshuffle by the looks of things as Krajcek tries to flick it through. And Haswan, who's that come off last? Handball, I think, is the decision here. It's a free kick, whichever way round it is. Strange old passage of play there. Yeah, so confirming Amy Recha on for no Luckman, and it's Zulfaimi who's come on. For Arish Kumar. Here's Hoshino. What a strong challenge that was. Really well won by Adam Kakim, who's really impressing the former young line on his return to Singapore Premier League action after national service. Here's Keshav Kumar. And that's a throw that's going to go the way of the Tigers. Keshav Kumar. That's a nice bit of improvisation from Suzu, but Uchi Chikawa has done it like a flash. Belted up in the air by Jufri. Nobody anywhere near Darren Tay as he got his foot to that. And Ahmad Shahir now has to mop it up over on that far side. Haswan with the flick on. Yeah, maybe looks like they're employing a back three now, Balestier, are they, with that change at half-time? Time will tell. I think this game's going to get so fast-paced later that formations may very nearly go out the window. Scrappy start to this second half so far. Maybe Geylang's just in a position whether they're wondering whether it's wise to stick or twist. And having said that if Geylang get the next goal, you'd fancy their 3 points will be all theirs. Any team, despite the fact they're yet to convince us a true traditional strike pairing up front, the individual talents of Shuhei Hoshino, Golden Boot winner, remember, with Albrecht Nagata winning the league back in 2018, and Zuzu. You give them opportunities, they are going to eventually get a goal. Here's Harith Kanadi, really impressed with Harith Kanadi this evening. He's managed to get that ball through as well to Fariz, who's bustled out of it by Christian Krajcek, who's penalised. Marko Kravic underneath me here doesn't seem to like the decision. He's furious with the referee for that one. But Fariz goes down and wins a free kick. It was very tame, wasn't it? But Fariz went down. Got the free kick. Reminder, there's a game live tomorrow for you on Singtel Star Hub. Singapore Premier League social media channels and One Play Sports. It's Young Lions Tanjung Pagar from Jurong West. And game schedule for next week include Tampines and Albrecht. That's a headline fixture. It looks like it's going to be a game between the top two, the way the results are going today so far. So top two potentially clashing next weekend. Also the Lion City Sailors against the Young Lions and Tanjung Pagar United and Hougang. Games planned for next weekend live in the AIA Singapore Premier League. Let's kick that ball away here, and Karen Islam's going to pick up a needless yellow card this early in the second half to pick up a yellow card for kicking the ball away, and what amounts to an interpretation of time wasting is foolish on Karen Islam's part there. To Karen Islam into the book. Yeah, whistle had gone for offside, and Karen Islam carried on going. Meanwhile, back to the live action. Elijah Lim spreads that nicely wide. Balestier, great cross to give a Hoshino! Header just over the bar. Well, that's on the same side of the field. Apologies, you missed that effort while we were away on the replay, but it's a fine effort from Hoshino. Just couldn't keep the header down. Hyrule clears, and Hewson was 3 yards off the pitch when he headed that, so the outcome was inevitable. A throw into Balestier Khalsa. Marko Kravic has seen something of a reaction here. They've enjoyed the better of the early second half exchanges, but still no closer to equalising. Barry Maguire brings it down for Geylang. Elijah Lim hassling him. And now getting stuck in is Zulfaimi, the substitute, and now the impressive Harith Kanadi. Loose ball picked up though by Geylang, and they've got numbers to the left here. Van Heusen in a bit of space. Van Heusen plays it quickly to Faritz. Going down, but no free kick. It's Barry Maguire now. Twisted over the top. And Van Heusen's going to get to this. He's got Kyron Nizam behind him. Van Heusen, though, looks to get it through to the middle. Shot and wide from Amy Recha. That would have been some return for Amy after injury. Van Heusen picked out Amy really well there. Look at Kyron Nizam, though, was running through. He might have been able to just play him in. As we go back to the live action and another short goal kick routine. See Zeifel play it to Jeffrey. They've conceded possession again, and I would imagine Marko Kravic will be putting the trigger on another change before too long, the way this is going. He's not blessed with an abundance of options. A reminder, Bruno Bruncevic, their leading goal scorer with 3 goals this season, is injured, having injured himself colliding with the post, having scored that goal that got them the 3 points at Tanjong Pagar last weekend. So they're far from full strength. Geylang, of course, missing the suspended Zainul. He'll miss their games this week and their game, whenever the next game will be, actually. Not entirely sure they'll play next week. Here's Barry Maguire. Misses out. Christian Krajcek gets it for Balestier, plays it to Zuzu, who's got some time and space, gets it back to Krajcek. And I'm not entirely sure what Christian Krajcek was trying to do there, and Marko Kravic, you can see him on the bottom of your screen, is furious. And he's letting Christian Krajcek know about it as well. But ever the good citizen, Marko remembers to put his face mask up when it slipped down. That's what you call a professional football manager. Remember, everyone, stay safe. Keep those masks on at all times. Kyron Nizam is proving a nuisance there to Fadley. Harith Kanadi. Harith again. Ashino should come up with this and does. Oh, Barry Maguire. My word, the challenges are starting to fly now, but all of a sudden, Hoshino's in space and Christian Krajcek's in support. Here's a chance for Christian Krajcek to get redemption straight away. Christian Krajcek makes the space for the shot, and a really impressive block by Darren Tay. Clears the danger for now. I think Hoshino might have been advised to give that a little bit earlier in hindsight. Here's Krajcek again. Lovely ball through, they're in the business here. Balestier Khalsa to the byline. And Ichikawa gets it away far too easily from a Balestier Khalsa point of view. And now all of a sudden, it's break on at the other end. They're herring up forward. Darren Tay, he's got support with Fariz. Here's Chris Van Heusen. Kyron Nizam lurks over on the far side. Van Heusen going to go on his own here. Van Heusen! And that's nearly reached the 3rd tier of our Tampines Hub. He goes, yeah, I think it was a bit further up than that, Chris. But good effort. He's impressed Chris Van Heusen. He played a part in the goal in the first half. Laying the ball back in that 1-2 with Harith Kanadi for the cross that was headed in by Kyron Nizam. But you can see space is opening up all over the field now, particularly as Balestier Khalsa start to throw more numbers forward. Barry Maguire has picked up a loose ball, but given it straight to Krajcek. But Barry Maguire recovers. Over the top, Van Heusen's going to get to this, I fancy. He's got Fariz and Kyril to aim at. Van Heusen likes to cut inside and run. Strong challenge by Keshav Kumar. And I think it's worth mentioning Keshav Kumar and Harith Kanadi. It's so good to see so many of these under-23 players, and in Keshav Kumar's case, an under-19 player, I should say. Really impressing so far. Lion City Sailors have got one back at Geelong East. Going to be game on there in the second half. Ambrex Nagata 2, the Lion City Sailors 1. Confirmation of that goal scorer for you in just a moment. Here it's still Geylang International 1, Balestier Khalsa 0. It's over the top, looking for the head. Hoshino, great flick on from Hoshino, and all of a sudden Haswan Halim's in business. Haswan Halim trying to get it through to Zuzu. Might still get it to Zuzu. He's going to get there before Darren Tay, that's for sure. Zuzu twisting and turning in the area, lays it back. They're through in business here. But again, they can't apply the finishing touch, and Darren Tay is going to have the perfect opportunity to clear from danger now. Kishev Kumar. That's a loose pass, picked up by Maguire. Van Heusen, he's got Fareed ahead of him, and Fareed will get there first. Oh, Kishev Kumar's going to be in trouble here. That's a cast iron yellow card for the Balestier youngster. Can have no complaints there. Yeah, you could see Kishev Kumar was always going to lose that battle, and that is very cynical. Is it a good game to this point? I suppose if you were going to be hard-nosed about it, you say he took one for the team there with Van Heusen and Fareed away at the races if he doesn't make that challenge, but he's into the book. And he joins Ahmed Shahir, Kyron Nizam and Hyrule as players on yellow cards. So 12 minutes already played in the second half, and still no goals to add to Kyron Nizam's 33rd minute opener. Have a look at Ichikawa, who's trying to, you'll see him come into your shot in a minute, Ichikawa. He's trying to head upfield here, unnoticed. He's trying to ghost in. Here he is. See Ichikawa there on the right-hand side of your screen. Along with a couple of other green and white shirts. They've tried to go in unnoticed here. Fareed, delivery's got over everyone, and then unconventionally headed back to his keeper by Fadley. Darren Tay. Third house. Oh, that's going to be another free kick, and are we going to see another yellow card coming out? Not this time. Just avoiding the yellow was Amy Recha. We'll get a free kick out of it, Balestier. Amy Recha just grabbing the shirt of Amateur here. It's another free kick, but getting a bit stop-start now. I can send you Uyong Shong. He's got the goal back for the Lion City Sailors. Alberts Nagata 2, Lion City Sailors 1. Here's Kishev Kumar. Gets it to this near side, where Zulfaimi gets in a right angle with Chris Van Heusen. Referee plays on. Barry Maguire against Zulfaimi. And Kishev Kumar decides just to belt that out of play. And just like that, we've almost played the first third of the second half. And it's still advantage Geylang. Well, they all went clattering in there, and maybe Zulfaimi will feel a little bit aggrieved that he didn't get a free kick. Kyron Nizam drops deep. Oh, going through the back there with Zuzu, but no whistle. And Christian Krajcek and Zuzu with Hoshino ahead as well as Haswan. Haswan drifts off for Krajcek. Krajcek goes himself! What a goal! Christian Krajcek! He's leveling it up out of nothing. Marko Krajic isn't shouting at Krajcek now. Christian Krajcek with his first goal of the season, and what a way to open your 2020 AIA Singapore Premier League account. We're all locked up at 1 apiece at OTH. Geylang 1, Balestier Khalsa 1. And straight after that goal going in, there are multiple changes coming for Balestier. Gay Samir is about to enter the action, as is Faisal. And it's one of the players that just went into the book that's going to make way. So Faisal Rafi with Keshaf Kumar making way for Gay Samir, who started last week against the Lions. As we get another look at that stunning strike from Christian Krajcek, beat Hyrule, all ends up. Can see waiting to come on as well for Geylang is Iqbal Hussain. It's worth looking at one more time from Christian Krajcek again. Has one to his left, went in his own, 20 yards out. Belts it past the hapless Hyrule. And Balestier Khalsa are at the races again. Here's Zuzu. Zuzu's got support, tries to thread it through, and that one doesn't go according to plan. So I'm being told that it will be Faris Farhan that will be replaced by Iqbal Hussain. So Iqbal Hussain and Khairul Nizam, who had a great day at the office here earlier in the season back in February when they formed a strike pairing that got the better of the young Lions. To confirm, it was Elijah Lim that made way for Faisal Rafi. And Faris, his work is done. So half an hour to find a winner here at OTH. I have to say, both goals have been really top quality strikes here. And talk about a momentum shift, because it's now Balestier that appear to be the primary pressers. Christian Krajcek, the goal scorer, losing out to the opposite number 8, Barry Maguire. Khairul Nizam, how's he going to link up with Iqbal Hussain? Both enigmatic figures, Khairul Nizam and Iqbal Hussain, but on their day, they're up there with the very best in Singapore strike talents. Iqbal Hussain taken for a walk there by Jeffrey, and Balestier Khalsa get the throw. So, would you like to name a winner now? Remember, the 3 games between these two last season averaged 5 goals a game. 5-0 here for Geylang. 4-3 for Geylang in the first of the Balestier games, and the second of the Balestier games, I should say, and then Balestier winning the first time of asking when they met Balestier Khalsa's ground last season by 3-0. This one is certainly a tight affair, and on balance maybe Balestier just about deserving to be on level terms, even though Geylang have hit the crossbar in the first half. As Oshino is brought down by Adam Hakim. Confirmation that Gay Samir is on for Keshaf Kumar. Youngster had a very influential hour, and maybe just pulling him as he got that yellow card from Marko Krajcek was a sensible move, because the way these legs are going to tire, the last thing you want to do is to be playing the final portion of a game with 10 men in these conditions. A very humid night here in Singapore, and Geylang know that from experience, having had to play the whole of the second half with 10 men last week against the Young Lions, and ended up conceding 3 late goals in that one. Khairul Nizam was trying to lay that back, but it's not worked out, and all of a sudden Zulfaimi is in business down that right-hand side, tries to square it. Ichikawa is there. And Zulfaimi Suleiman, who scored one of the finest goals I think our Tampines Hub has ever seen a couple of seasons back here against Albirex Niigata. In a 4-3 game on that occasion that the Japanese just edged. But Zulfaimi knows what it's like to score a spectacular goal. And talking of spectacular goals, Zulfaimi flags down, squares in, Khalsa lead! Haswan Halim has turned this game on its head after great work from the substitute Zulfaimi. And Geylang International qualified 2 goals in 5 minutes. And Marko Krajovic, off the back of an inspired substitution, it looks like, sees Zulfaimi open up Geylang at the back, and selflessly he squares the ball to Haswan Halim, who had the simplest of finishes for his 2nd goal of the season. And the Eagles, having led, now trail the Tigers. It's Geylang 1, Balestier Khalsa 2. Well, what about that from Zulfaimi? Fresh legs, found space, beat his man, and when many others might have gone for goal and cut inside, he played the percentages, created the space for Haswan Halim for the simplest of finishes, and now we have to see what response Geylang have got. The game's been turned on its head, courtesy of 2 goals in 5 minutes. For Balestier Khalsa. And again, if Balestier Khalsa get the points here, and the Lion City Sailors come back to snatch at least a point off Albrechts, Balestier Khalsa will be top of the AIA Singapore Premier League tonight. So it won't have been many times in recent history that Balestier have been top of the table after 6 games. And there will in truth be teams behind them with games in hand. But even if Albrechts hang on for 3 points here, if Balestier hang on here, they'll be 2nd. Could be all change at the top with Tampines, who had a bye week, remember, dropping down to 3rd if the current results stay as they are. Gay Samir, a distinctive haircut. Lovely pass inside as well. Here's Zulfaimi again, great work from Zulfaimi. Rafli, and that's gathered up well by Hyrule. Faisal Rafli and fellow substitute Zulfaimi really giving Balestier some extra oomph down this right flank. It's over the top looking for Zuzu. He's going to get to this, you know. Zuzu, Hoshino waits in the middle. Zuzu against Ichikawa. Comes back to Ahmed Shihab. And that's going to be a corner ball, I fancy. Went out, didn't it? No. Remember, it was 2 shots on target each in the first half, only 2 shots on target in the whole of the second half to this point. They've both been by Balestier, and they've both found the back of the net. Christian Krajcek with a screamer from outside the area, and Haswan Halim after good work by Zulfaimi down the right-hand side. Haven't seen much of Harith Kanadi in the second half, but that's another good ball from the youngster. Finds Amy Recha. Van Heusen now, and a very committed challenge from Fadley, sent it out for a throw to Geylang International. Ball played in by Ferdhouse, but easily gathered by Zeifel. Hoshino. Zulfaimi back to Hoshino. Amazing how a game of football can change. Whenever you're at 1-0 and in front, no matter how much you think you're dominating proceedings or have got the better of your opponents, just takes one thing to happen in a game and the game can be turned on its head, and that's what's happened here. Since the goal, Balestier have been a different proposition. And right back in this now as we take, slightly later than advertised. I wouldn't be blaming the referee if he got to take it, bearing in mind the drama we've had so far in this second half. We do take our hydration break as that whistle went for the free kick for the foul on Haswan Halim, who at the moment has scored the goal that is securing 3 points for Balestier Khalsa. And if Lion City Sailors get another one, Balestier Khalsa could still be top tonight. And Tanjung Pagar United and Young Lions, the other game this weekend, tomorrow live on Singtel Star Hub and the AIA Singapore Premier League social media channels and One Play Sport. Whatever happens there, if Balestier hang on here and the Sailors get an equaliser, Tigers will be top. 20 minutes for Geylang to turn this around, and another reminder to thank everyone in our frontline services for your contribution in building our nation, both in happier and better times and these tough times of the COVID-19 pandemic. And that's, again, as I mentioned in the first half, just all give our thanks that we're able to live in the Lion City state, which I don't think you'll find a country that's dealt with this COVID-19 situation as effectively as Singapore. Changes on the way for Geylang, and Khairul Nizam, the goal scorer in the first half, is about to be replaced by Zafrul Suleiman. So Zafrul is coming on. Need to do something, maybe Khairul Nizam just tiring. Zafrul an option to maybe do for Geylang what Zulfaimi Suleiman did for Balestier. Amy Recha controls it well, back from injury. Look at the space Geylang have got on the right-hand side if they try to get it there and get it there at pace, and they do just that. Barry Maguire's herring up in support. They cut inside, trying to find Barry Maguire, who looks to almost come up to play centre forward now, with Khairul Nizam exiting the scene. Third house. Van Heusen. He's got Gay Samir for company. Van Heusen plays it first time to avoid Samir, and a nice touch from Van Heusen. Plays in Amy Recha, but Christian Krajcek all over it. Gay Samir and Barry Maguire getting in a tangle, and there will be a free kick going the way of Balestier, and Barry Maguire cannot believe it. Drops to the floor in disbelief. Well, 72 minutes in, we've got our first case of cramp. There's a Geylang man down on the deck with cramp beneath me, and the good sport that he is. He's being assisted by Shohei Hoshino. Here's that free kick that Barry Maguire can't believe that's been given against him. And Harith Kanadi, who's worked so hard, he's had a really good game in the first half in particular. He's faded out of the game just a little bit in this second half, but when you look at him, you can see he's still obviously only a youngster, got plenty of growing still to do into his body, you fancy. He's not fully physically developed yet, you reckon, as a physical specimen, so it's inevitable these conditions back from such a long break is going to affect lots of those younger players out there that haven't got the experience as some of the others. It was his long ball onto the head of Khairul Nizam that gave Geylang the lead just past the half-hour mark. But since then, the game has moved on with 2 goals for Balestier. Christian Krajcek with a long-range screamer, and Haswin Halam finishing great work down the right-hand side from Zulfaimi Suleiman, the substitute. Oh, Hoshino could be in here. Suhei Hoshino. Halim wants it again. Haswan misses his lines, and then Zuzu can't pounce on what was a very scrappy passage of play there. A result, I think, of tired limbs all over the park. And if Balestier can get a third goal, surely that's Geylang's race run. The live AIA Singapore Premier League table as it stands sees Tampines Rovers dropping to second, Albirex Nagata taking over top spot. Balestier Khalsa up to 11 points. Would take over from Tampines into second spot immediately after Albirex dropped them to second. Long range effort. Man in space on this near side is Christian Krajcek. Drifts that in nicely. Oh, what about that for a cheeky attempt from Zuzu? He went for kind of an improvised scorpion kick there as he went to ground. Luckily for Geylang, it comes to nothing. Into the final quarter of an hour we go. Jeffrey puts a foot through it. Trying to find Van Heusen, but they only find Gay Samir. Gay Samir. Zuzu again with the back flicks. And again, another example that maybe he and Hoshino aren't always on the same page. And Marko Kravic is not happy, but Chris Van Heusen is, because he's managed to pick it up. Gay Samir blocks Van Heusen's cross, and it's out for another throw. Gareth Kennedy recovered from cramp now and gets it back to Adam Hakim. Adam Hakim's ball is only partially met by Haswan Halim. Comes to Darren Tay, who finds Iqbal Hussain. Iqbal Hussain back to Darren Tay. Maguire's pulled off here. Maguire might go for goal. Instead he dinks it through. Is the flag going to stay down here? The flag was up, it was offside. So it wouldn't have counted anyway. But Zeifel wasn't to know that, and he gathered it well. Suspicion of handball, but Faisal plays on regardless. Darren Tay. Touch for Zaffarul. Again, it's pretty easy to read what Geylang are trying to do. They just desperately need to get Van Heusen involved down this left-hand side, and obviously Balestier have countered that by putting the fresh legs of Gay Samir on to replace Keshav Kumar. Now Haswan Halim, I think it is over on that far side. Is it down with some cramp? Some very tired limbs out there now. Managers still have substitutions they can make if required, but the strength in depth, particularly for Balestier tonight, with a couple of players missing out, and for Geylang as well, not sufficient enough that you could confidently want to use all 5 substitutes if you didn't have to. All right, he's got a decision to make. Haswan Halim will have to go over on that far side, having had the physio on for treatment. Marko Krajovic. Mars starting to slip, but contrast his body language and style now to what it was like 20 minutes ago. Remember, Christian Krajcek gave away possession cheaply and he was screaming at the Balestier number 8. But in what goes down as quite a quick fire active redemption, the Croatian scored an absolutely stunning goal to level this one up just before the hour mark, and then of course Haswan Halim's gone on to give them a 2-1 lead, and now Hoshino's away at the races. Hoshino, good pace shown by Adam Hakim to get there first, but it is a corner. And we're into the final 12 minutes now. And will be, I'd imagine, even at this stage, you'd fancy at least 4 or 5 minutes of time to be added on for stoppages. Balestier potentially on the brink of going second. And again, if the Lion City Sailors get an equaliser over at Geelong East, and a game that's currently also live on Singtel Star Hub, the AIA Singapore Premier League social media channels, and One Play Sports, Balestier Khalsa could be top of the AIA Singapore Premier League in 10 minutes' time. But first, they've got to make sure they keep up their part of the bargain by getting the 3 points here. Krajcek to deliver the corner. Near post, and the keeper's punched it into his own net! And that should be that for Balestier Khalsa. 1-0 down at half-time. They lead 3-1 with 10 to play, and the replay will tell us more, but my first reaction was it's not a replay that Hyrule want to see. Well, Christian Krajcek celebrating like he planned the whole thing. I think he's telling Marco he planned it as well. He may well end up getting credited with the goal. I doubt it. The replay will tell us. It looked to me as the corner came in that Hyrule punched that effectively into his own net from an awkward height in defence of the Geylang keeper. He had people all around him, and it's easily done. Now let's have a look at this. Well, you have to have a little bit of sympathy with the goalkeeper, because I don't think the defenders in front of him did their job, but it's going to be on the keeper, isn't it, this? Yeah, the keeper's effectively, as he punched that into the back of another Geylang player, as they punched that into his net himself. Well, we're back underway here officially. That will go down as an OG for me, but in his defence, I did think it took a deflection off a Geylang player en route towards him at such a narrow angle. This will tell us the close-up, but it's an OG. I don't even think he's got the get-out from that angle. I don't even think he's got the get-out of a defender getting a touch to it. That's going to be a Hyrule own goal, and Geylang's dream first 45 minutes, whether they were on balance marginally the better side, is turned into a second-half horror show here at OTH. And Balestier Khalsa surely now have got the 3 points wrapped up And they're going to go back to back. Well, now, here's Zuzu. This time Hyrule manages to gather it. Now, Geylang looked to me to be a team running on empty. Of course, the game got away with them in the final quarter of an hour last week against the Lion City Sailors as well, but they've not got the excuse this week of playing against 10 men or Stipe Plazibat, who was hugely influential in that game. Still 2-1 to Albirex Niigata at Jurong East, by the way. Stretch is going to be required for Haswan Halim. If they avoid defeat here, which surely Balestier Khalsa are going to do, they'll be 5 games unbeaten for the first time since October 2015. And that unbeaten run of 5 is going to include, if it stays like this, 3 wins and 2 draws. The wins coming here against Geylang if they get the 3 points, Tanjung Bagat and the Young Lions, and 2 draws against Hougang and Albirex Niigata. So 2015, 5 years ago, almost to the day, is the last time they managed to go 5 games unbeaten. Testament to what Marko Krajovic has done to a team, remember, that last season finished bottom of the Singapore Premier League. Balestier Khalsa 33 points behind the champions DPMM in a 24-game season. And now they're looking booked to be at the very worst second at the end of this weekend's games. Amy Retcher, Geylang got a 7-minute comeback in them. Amy Retcher beats Geysamir the first time, and it's Geysamir back in to win a corner for Geylang International. But if they are going to make it happen, they're going to have to try and make it happen quick here. Corner is delivered in. Keeper's not got there, and it's off the line by Hoshino to keep Balestier 2 goals in front. Another corner. If I was Geylang, I'd be wanting to hurry up with this a little bit more as we get a look back at the replay, with it's Zeifel's turn to end up in no man's land from a corner. Hoshino bails him out. Back to the live action we must go, because the corner's coming in again, flicked on and headed away again brilliantly by Hoshino. Maguire. And zip for Geylang. The Lion City Sailors have equalised at Jurong East against Albirex Niigata. As things stand, Balestier Khalsa are top of the AIA Singapore Premier League. The team that finished bottom, wooden spoonist last year, are looking likely to be league leaders by the end of this weekend. An astonishing turnaround by Marko Krajovic. And could it be 4? Have they got more goals in him? It's 4 on 3 in Balestier's favour. Zuzu gets it out wide to Hoshino. Hoshino, well, that was great recovery. Nice recovery from Harith Kanadi, who's looked visibly tired but did really well there. And maybe Balestier guilty of getting a bit too casual. Geysamir, he's given some steel to Balestier Khalsa since his introduction. Samir's kept Van Heusen quiet till Van Heusen's exit, and then of course Ulfaimi, very influential when it comes to that third goal. The second goal, I should say. The third goal was just that Christian Krajcek corner that was sent into his own net by Hyrule. And players all over the pitch with cramp now. There's Ramonda, Albrechts Nagata 2, Lion City Sailors 2. I haven't had a look to see who the goal scorer is yet, but can't believe Stipe Plazovat's going to play a game without scoring a goal. I'll confirm that goal scorer to you in just a moment. So all square at Geelong East, where looks like the Lion City Sailors are going to come from 2 goals down to get something from that one. They trailed 2-0 at half-time here. Balestier Khalsa trailed 1-0 at half-time. But boy, oh boy, have they turned this round in some style in the second half. Christian Krajcek, Zulfaimi. Zulfaimi again into space. Just too much on that this time, and Ferdhouse can track back, but they're playing with fire, trying to play themselves out there, and Christian Krajcek penalised. I think he knows he was in the wrong there. Zaffarul recovering quickly enough. Geylang about to make another change, a final change, I'm being told. Zikos is going to replace Harith Kanadi in a final last gasp throw of the dice for Noor Ali. Over the top for Van Heusen. Still looks full of energy, Chris Van Heusen. He gets past Samir this time, and the cross goes through to the area. They can take their sweet time in playing this out. Zafra with plenty of time and space. They've coughed up possession a little bit too cheaply for their liking, though, there. And that shot is really an indication of what they've been reduced to. So Zikos Chua is on for Harith Kanadi, whose night is going to end in disappointment after a starring performance in the first half. Geylang look like they've run out of ideas here, and petrol as well, to try and get back into this game. Chris Van Heusen's quality keeps trying to help them probe forward, but he's not getting much in the way of cohesive support from the others up front. Iqbal Hussain hasn't really had much of an impact since his introduction. Not that he's been given the best of service, but now Barry Maguire's being engaged up front. But to counter that, Suhei Yoshino's being almost employed as a centre-back. And let's not underestimate, he won't be on the score sheet today by the looks of things, but Suhei Yoshino has worked incredibly hard, getting back to defend set pieces, getting his header first, and in every aerial ball that he's been asked to contest. Albrechts Nagata have retaken the lead at Geelong East. What drama there late on. Albrechts Nagata 3, the Lion City Sailors 2, so maybe Balestier Khalsa. Here's Maguire on the turn, Maguire, and Gay Samir just about gets it away. Well taken by Zaiful. Iqbal Hussain. Chikawa. Look how deep Iqbal's trying to drop to have to try and get some influence on the game, and that's symptomatic of Geylang's service problems in the second half. Amy Recha, good to see him back from injury. He's worked hard, but it's just not been fluid enough from Geylang in the second half. And Balestier have ultimately, you fancy, bullied their way to victory here. There's been no shortage of finesse as well. A cracking finish by Christian Krajcek. A lovely second goal that saw good link-up play between the substitutes Ulfami and Halim Hazwan. Flags down here, but the header is tame and straight into the hands of Zaiful. And with that, as we enter the second minute of 4 to be added on for stoppages, that effort from the substitutes, Ekos being saved to surely secure 3 points for Balestier. By the way, Gabriel Quack it was that got the equaliser for the Lion City Sailors here. Rio Nisaguchi has got a late winner deep into injury time there. So Albirex Nagata look like they're heading to the top of the shot. Balestier look like they're heading to second, but will it be with a 3-1 win or a 3-2? Here's Iqbal Hussain. Iqbal Hussain looking for the return pass from Amy Recha, but the ball he gave back to Amy wasn't the greatest, and he's had to get out of position. They'll try and float this into the area and hope for the best, and that's very well claimed by Zaiful. So less than 2 minutes to go now between Balestier Khalsa and an unbeaten run of 5 games for the first time in 5 years. Just waiting for the full-time whistle, which I think has just gone at Geelong East, where last we heard it was Albirex Nagata 3, Lion City Sailors 2. That win sends Albirex Nagata top, slops Tampines Rovers down to second as Gay Samir gets involved with Chris Van Heusen and concedes a free kick, but they're now really surely running out of seconds. Even if they scored now, Geylang to get the 2, they need to get something. But this win for Balestier is going to take them into second, at level on points with the league leaders. Geylang going to get a late consolation here. The Eagles are going to be beaten, but they're going to bow out with a bit of pride. Van Heusen looks for a green and white head. They get it back across the middle, and they are going to pull one back right on full time. It's Barry Maguire. Have they got enough time to restart and get a third? Well, another innocuous looking goal from a set piece that came in slow motion, really. And maybe Balestier guilty of thinking they got over the finish line already, but now, of course, the clock is not going to be Noor Ali's friend. We're into the final 30 seconds of time added on. One imagined the referee will add at least 30 seconds or maybe a minute with Balestier taking their time to restart here. But Barry Maguire has given this game a final twist. Barry Maguire's first goal of this season. Is it going to turn out to be too little too late? Full-time whistle goes back at 94 minutes. The Geylang players are furious that the referee didn't add any more time on. Darren Tay and Barry Maguire over in his face. Marko Krajovic has seen Balestier Tigers go 5 games unbeaten for the first time in 5 years. And with confirmation still awaited that Albirex hung on to get all 3 points they did against the Lion City Sailors, it's now Albirex Nagata top, Balestier Khalsa up to second. What a turnaround for the team that finished bottom last season. And as for Geylang International, back-to-back defeats for them to restart the season after last week's beating at the hands of the Sailors. It's finished here. Geylang International 2, Balestier Khalsa 3. The goals coming from Kara Nizam, a lovely work goal in the first half after 33 minutes after Chris Van Heusen and Harith Kanadi had worked together brilliantly. Then Christian Krajcek just on the hour mark with a long-range screamer to level it up. It just took 6 minutes more for Balestier Khalsa to take the lead. Marvellous work from the fresh-legged substitute Zulfaimi down the right, squared it. Hazwan Halim couldn't miss for his second of the season, and Balestier Khalsa go 2-1 in front. And then from a Christian Krajcek corner, Hyrule contrived to punch it into his own net to give Balestier Khalsa enough of a break to surely, you'd have thought, secure the 3 points. But then there was one final twist in the tail. Barry Maguire with his first of the campaign from a very scrappy set piece gave Geylang what they thought would be some life, but maybe a tad controversially. We might hear more about that in the post-match interviews. Lim Yang Yi did not add any extra time on past the 94 minutes that went up after the 90, and that's despite Balestier taking what seemed like an age to get back and restart after the goal had come in. So 5 goals, it didn't disappoint in terms of the goal number, and Balestier Khalsa continued to confound the critics that gave them no chance after last season's horror show campaign. Geylang International 2, Balestier Khalsa 3, and the Tigers up to second in the AIA Singapore Premier League. The stats are simply incredible. Have a look at that. Both registered 12 shots, both with 4 on target. The difference between the two teams, the clinical nature of Balestier Khalsa in the final third, and notwithstanding that goalkeeping clanger from Hyrule as well. 2 yellow cards apiece in a game that was for the most part hard fought but fair. It's finished with Balestier Khalsa coming from a half-time decimate to pick up all 3 points, and their unbeaten run now stretches to 5. Do stay with us. We'll be getting a reaction in terms of showing you the highlights, and we'll also be speaking to the managers post-match, and those reports and interviews you can hear across the AIA Singapore Premier League social media channels in the hours to come. But that just about does it from us here at our Tampines Hub. So let's look back. It was daylight when Khairul Nizam's fine header just after the half-hour mark, after that lovely cross from Harith Kanadi, gave Geylang the lead. Into the second half. Look at this from Christian Krajcek. Takes the ball just inside Geylang territory, 30 yards out, bang, smashes it past Hyrule, who was beaten all ends up. Arguably the goal of the game, that one. And then a lovely ball over the top that finds Sulfaimi. He selflessly squares the ball, edge of the 6-yard box to Haswin Halim to get his second goal of the season, and that gave Balestier Khalsa a 2-1 lead. Third Balestier Khalsa goal came from a corner from Christian Krajcek that I think eventually will be credited as an own goal to Hyrule, although Christian Krajcek, I'm sure, will be keen to claim it. And then deep into injury time, Barry Maguire with a sloppy goal that Balestier Khalsa, if they hadn't had a 2-goal advantage, would have been kicking themselves if they'd have conceded. 5 goals here. There was also 5 goals tonight at Jurong East as Albrecht Nagata came out on top of Lion City Sailors. And you'll be able to catch the highlights of all these games across the AIA Singapore Premier League social media channels in the weeks to come. Don't forget, it's Young Lions and Tanjong Pagar live from Jurong West tomorrow. But from all the team here at our Tampines Hub, good night, and thank you for joining us in the AIA Singapore Premier League, where tonight Geylang International and Balestier Khalsa have proved it's very much game on.